Theater owners, it's time for some brutal honesty. That's right. If you have an opportunity to get any one of 32 movies, pick the best ones. Pick anime. It's the only thing that seems to be succeeding right now. And over the course of the last weekend, 32 films were eligible to be on screens. And only 72 million came out of that the whole weekend. You're in big trouble, and it's time to talk about it. So, here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm on my way to 50K. That is with your help. So double check you're still subscribed to the channel, turn on all notifications, and hit the thumbs up button right now. It truly does help. Oh, and when we get to the end, make a couple of comments. Believe it or not, that actually increases engagement, which is the only thing YouTube seems to care about right now. So let's talk about the things I care about, which is, well, the theaters. And they're in trouble. NATO is going to have a really bad annual report this year talking about just how awful the box office has been. It's fallen off a planet in a way that I didn't think was possible. Box office theory kind of projected forward that there was going to be a problem, and here we are, looking at Springsteen to be the #1 film in the box office, coming in at a $16 million range, but the traditional industry tracking had it at 10 to 12 million. And then looking at Chainsaw Man, a real success story, they were only looking at a bot range between 9.5 and 13 million. Now, when it says bot range, it just means box office theory. That's the projection range they have it at. And when you look at Regretting You, you knew that this was kind of a weak film because you didn't see it advertised anywhere. And they're looking at a domestic range between 8.5 and 13.5. Traditional industry tracking had it at 10. We're going to check all these numbers with the numbers at the end here. But I'm telling you, these numbers didn't work out this way, and this guy is almost never wrong. So I'm really, really concerned that the traditional metrics aren't going to work going forward because the audience just isn't interested. Moving on, of course, Deadline tells the tale. Sony Crunchyroll anime rules box office again. And that's just anime in general. Think about all the successes we've seen from whether it be the Netflix Sony deal that just happened a couple of weeks ago, or even more recently, I think the last 2 weekends. Infinity Castle continues to just kind of steamroll things. And if you look at this thing went 17 plus million in this opening weekend. Springsteen is garbage at 9 million plus. By the way, Bruce Springsteen, he's not going to sell anything anymore. He's abandoned America and has made kind of a stink about it. Moving on, of course, we have to look at Variety's take, still Penske Media Group, but at least they have different writers over there. And Chainsaw Man revs 8.5 million opening day on top. 8.5 million opening day, not bad for anime, especially one that, again, didn't get a lot of advertising. Regretting You spars for second as Springsteen strums in fourth. And I'm going to tell you, the Springsteen thing was a, well, bit of a flop. And I'm going to tell you who this lead actor guy really isn't that special. I don't know what everybody sees in him. I really don't. And just a quick reminder, the R-rated Chainsaw Man went brrr. 8.5 million across Friday and Thursday in only 3,000 theaters. This is kind of impressive for an anime picture, and the fact that it's going to round out at about 17 million is more than a little bit surprising. Sony's anime labels have been doing very well, and Crunchyroll in particular probably needed to be more beloved as a channel than it ever got credit for. But let's get to the numbers and take a look at what really matters. Now, these things are what I would call telling. Chainsaw Man, 17.25 million in only 3,003 theaters. That is a decent weekend for a film that had almost no advertising that I'm aware of. You had The Black Phone 2 hanging in there, falling off a little bit by, looks like 52% to 13 million, and Regretting You at 12.8. I can't believe another new film came in third, and Springsteen in fourth at 9.1 million in 3,460 theaters. Look at those counts, folks. Chainsaw Man only in 3,003 theaters, and Black Phone still in 3,400 and change, and of course, Forgetting You opening in 3,393, and finally, Bruce Springsteen, which opened at 3,400 and more, and these numbers are telling you people are not interested in the stories that are being told by Hollywood. They don't trust them, and they don't think they're going to be worth their time and their money. And that's a big, big issue when it comes to theater owners. Look, Tron's already fallen off the planet. It's now in only 2,940 theaters, down over 1,000 theaters this last weekend, only earning $4.9 million. I'm telling you, Disney's in big trouble, bigger trouble than I even thought. At the end of the day, Disney's failures throughout this whole year have been exposing very poor leadership that I've been calling out for years now. And they don't seem to learn any lessons from those failures. They just keep doubling down and diving back into them, oftentimes supported by the companies that essentially force their stock into people's 401ks and do it in a disingenuous way, enforcing a lot of DEI garbage and everything else. And of course, I'm talking about Vanguard, I'm talking about BlackRock, and most particularly about Larry Fink, who is actually the co-leader of the WEF now. That's right, the World Economic Forum. These are the people who are trying to, through social engineering, force you to do what they want, which is why they're really way behind the idea of a Fed currency and control of the wallets for said Fed currency and a digital ID. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with entertainment, but it does have to do with the rest of our life and how we spend our time. I don't want to be forced to spend time supporting terrible films with terrible ideas in them for the rest of my life. I don't live in the CCP, and I hope you don't either. Back to some more failures, though. Good fortune continues to fall off the planet, falling 50% or more, down to 3.1 million. Now, again, I feel bad for Keanu Reeves, but this film was never going to be good the minute they signed up Seth Rogen. Not to mention the fact that Anzi Ansari guy or whatever doesn't seem to have good luck with making movies. And coming in 8th place in a very deserved spot is One Battle After Another at only 2.3 million. This thing is so deep in the hole, there is zero chance it makes a profit and will definitely lose that $180 million we were talking about the last couple of weeks. Scrolling on throughout the rest of this list, these numbers are depressing. Once you get past Roofman, nothing over $1 million in this weekend's earnings. And again, as I said at the beginning of the video, there were 32 projects in theaters and only $72 million total. That is depressing. One final note. This isn't the end of it. It's going to get worse. And when we get to the beginning of 2026, this will be, well, something that would be hoped for, because there is nothing on the horizon that has audiences excited. Yeah, maybe some people will go to Zootopia 2 before the end of the year. Yeah, maybe some people will go see Avatar Fire and Ash, but I don't see the hype. I don't feel the hype, and I don't see advertisements flashing everywhere to try to draw you into those particular projects. Worse yet, I don't feel any buzz, hype, or anything else for Doomsday, which I think is going to doom Marvel more than they possibly could imagine. But as I often say, those are my thoughts. I want to know, what are yours? Let me know your thoughts in the conversation comments down below. Tell me, do you think the box office is going to recover before the end of the year? Are there actually projects out there that you are intensely interested in? Or do you see the same thing I do? Absolutely nothing in the future or on the horizon that has my interest or has any hype at all. Do you think that a lot of the bigger studios have lost the plot and invested in the wrong things? I'm 100% sure they have. And finally, on a different note, I'll ask you, do you think a merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers would help? That one, I don't know. Anyway, as I said, if you think you can answer any of those questions or you have some of your own or anything else you'd like to talk about, let me know that in the comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! But probably not at a theater, which is sad.